And these players will take a look at their opening hands, be given the green light, and we will be underway here in just a moment.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup. This green white value town deck, Todd put it together with some very specific matchups in mind, and I can't imagine that the Grixis Death Shadow wasn't one of the decks on his radar when he made the deck.
I would have to assume as much. I'm right there with you.
So I think he's happy to be playing this matchup.
A Bird of Paradise off of Temple Garden is where Todd's going to start things off. He's at 18 for Dylan. I think we'll see the old Watery Grave. There it is, down to 17. Not my first time watching this deck, that's for sure.
That deck does what it does.
Yeah, it searches for the same land to begin every game. Feels like every single time.
And I feel like I say this every time we see these green-white value company decks. It looks like just this messy mishmash of cards where I'm like, Reminap Excavator, that is just not what I want to be paying 3 mana for in Modern. You know, Courser of Krufix, come on, man. This isn't standard from 3 years ago or whatever it was.
Yep.
But you start to see these cards come together, and they're just so much synergies, and they're definitely greater than the sum of their parts.
They do some nice work together, and they work very, very well in tandem, as we've seen earlier.
Oh, look at this snake.
Yeah, Inquisition at Kozilek here from Dylan Donegan. You're going to see cards you might be used to here from Todd Stevens and Azusa, Lost But Seeking, Collected Company, Horizon Canopy, and Ghost Quarter. But it's been a hot minute since we've seen the Lotus Cobra.
Even Azusa is a card that's... You really need to be doing some other things for Azusa to be good. You know, making one extra land drop early in the game and then not playing extra lands from then on out, not that strong.
Yeah, not that exciting, to be sure. But Todd has built a deck that does abuse Azusa in certain situations with Courser of Krufix, Rhyming Up Excavator, and some other things that he can do. And Dylan not too sure what card to take. Can't take Collected Company, we know that. So it's Lotus Cobra or Azusa. Azusa down! Azusa down.
That's why it's in the deck.
Yep.
Distract the opponent from the other spells.
Looks like Todd may have picked up a copy of Knight of the Reliquary for his draw step. And that means he's going to start things off with the Lotus Cobra.
I'm going to...
Let's see what else he's going to do here. Now, I'm not positive it was Knight, but I think it was. And if it was Knight, I'm a little surprised that he didn't play it. Here's Ghost Quarter. He can get a mana there from Lotus Cobra, given the landfall. Lotus Cobra was a boss back in its day.
He's going to Ghost Quarter himself.
Which means he'll get Lotus Cobra, trigger, get a forest, and now he can play Knight. So he can play both in the same turn. And Knight is a 4/4 now, which means it's out of Lightning Bolt range. Still can be terminated and many other things. So let's head over to Donegan. Donegan any Lightning Bolts?
Let's take a look here. 4 push. He's got 3 Stubborn Denial, 2 Terminate, 2 Kolaghan's Command, no bolts. He's playing a couple copies of Sleight of Hand in his deck.
Okay. Donegan's going to sacrifice a Bloodstained Mire. And there's Blood Crypt.
Already at 10. See, that's the downfall of the Grixis Death Shadow deck, is that you deal yourself so much damage.
And let's see, 3, 6, 7. No, actually, it's still 12. Still 12.
Oh, still 12.
Yeah. 2 fetches for two duels. That's 6. And then 2 more from Street Wraith. So down to 12. Terminate's going to take care of the Knight. I think if I'm Todd, I just want to main phase this Collected Company.
Yeah, the opponent's tapped out. I don't have to worry about Stubborn Denial. And, you know, he can only do it now because he's getting the extra mana off of the Lotus Cobra.
Mm-hmm. So top 6 cards. Let's see what Stevens does find. Assuming he found some hits. Yeah, those are hits.
Those are hits.
Those are hitful hits. Invoice Resurgence and Knight of the Reliquary. In for maybe... No!
I like this.
No attack against the Death Shadow deck.
I like the KG back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah, Todd didn't just miss an attack step there.
He thought about it.
Yeah, he very deliberately didn't attack. He doesn't want to help the Death Shadow player out by making the 1-drop even bigger.
Currently, Death Shadow would be a 1/1. Had he gotten in there with Lotus Cobra, it would be a 3-3. Donegan's going to bring himself down to 10. And now there's Terminate again. And now here's Death Shadow. So he's got a 3-3 Death Shadow. Terminate took care of Knight of the Reliquary. Stevens will draw a card. He's got a Wooded Foothills. He drew another Collected Company.
Of course he did.
He is making this look pretty darn easy thus far.
Yeah, every time you kill a Knight of the Reliquary.
You draw Collected Company. See how Todd wants to play this one, because he main phased the last one. Had to because of Lotus Corporate mana. This time he doesn't have to.
I would expect him to do it again.
Well, it's kind of interesting because if you wait, you might be able to trap him. But if you wait, you might get blown out by Stubborn Denial.
Yeah.
And Todd might just say, I kind of want to use this green mana floating to crack my Horizon Canopy.
Sure, draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
Get a little more information, then decide what I'm going to do.
All right, it's main phase. Another Knight of the Reliquary in there.
They just keep coming back.
Courser of Crewfix, Raminab Excavator. What does he want now? I mean, definitely Knight. But I'm curious what else.
Yeah, these Death Shadow decks play 2 basics in them usually.
So you can't get to work with Ghost Quarter.
So yeah, the Excavator plus a Ghost Quarter can really get to work on them.
Absolutely.
It looks like Todd's going to go with the Courser of Crewfix instead.
Oh, how about that? hey, look at that. Yeah, it's pretty hard to lose in this deck if you have Knight of the Reliquaries every draw step.
Yeah, what is the right number of Knight of the Reliquary?
Draw it every turn.
In the average game, how many of those do you want to deploy?
I would like to draw 4 every game if I could.
Okay, that seems like
Actual
a good number.
4. What's next here for Mr. Donegan? Thought Scour targeting Todd, I think.
I like targeting Todd here.
There goes Knights. There goes Jeez.
That was a good one.
That was a good Thought Scour. Temple Guard on top of the deck now.
Yeah, and the extra information from Courser of Crewfix coming back to bite Todd a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
Value for the opponent in town.
I see what you did.
Yeah, renaming the deck.
And I don't like it.
Oh.
I don't like it.
All right, I'll take a mulligan on that one.
All right, I appreciate it. Don't take it personal, though.
Look at Dylan.
Yeah. How many Knights do I have to beat?
They just don't stop coming.
Yeah, they definitely don't. And you're going to have to beat all the Knights. Every single one of them.
And Todd has this fetch land where he can break things up a little bit so he doesn't have to draw that land off the top of his deck.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him use that because I don't think he wants that. I don't think he wants to draw that Temple Garden.
Yeah.
I think he actually just wants a real card.
But he has the option of saving the fetch land if he wants to. He can break things up with the Knight of the Reliquary, and he still has the Horizon Canopy to draw an extra card as well. So the Value Town deck really getting a lot of value here.
Now that one I will allow.
Yeah.
I will allow that.
I appreciate that.
No problem.
Good looking out.
Thought Scout, we're coming this way. 2 cards go to the graveyard. Kolaghan's Command and Serum Visions. New card drawn here for Donegan. Dylan looking to load up here with some Delve creatures, it appears. Big Fish. And Gurmag Angler. He'll delve away 5 cards. And then pay 2 normal mana.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised he didn't save the Thought Scour to try to break up what Todd was going to draw again. Because he had plenty of cards to delve away already in his graveyard.
I'm like a little surprised that he's left a bunch of lands there. Like the Thought Scour seems interesting. The Kolaghan's Command seems like a high power card too. And those are now both gone.
Sure, I think he's prioritizing the potential for Tasigur later in this game. And Terminate is definitely the best card for him to fight back against this Todd Stevens Green-White Company deck.
That's definitely true. I definitely want to leave those Terminates there for Snapcaster Mages and for Tasigurs.
Yeah.
Stevens is going to sacrifice his Horizon Canopy. Plains on top of the deck. Well, you got to draw some lands eventually, man. You keep drawing all those knights and companies. Todd's going to float, sack. I still think this is all before he's drawing a card for his turn.
It is, yep.
I think we might see him go get a Horizon Canopy here. He's looking at that Windswept Heath, too. Oh, Gavany Township.
There's a lot of good options here. So the Canopy draws him an extra card. A Windswept Heath would be another land in his graveyard, making the knight even bigger, and give him another shot of breaking up his draw if there's something he doesn't like on top of his deck. The Gavany Township, obviously, is producing land when it comes into play, and then he can use the ability to pump all of his creatures, which if this board is going to be stalled for more than a couple of turns is pretty spectacular. So lots of good options here.
Could be getting in the air with the bird, which wouldn't be so bad. Would be making Death Shadow a little bit angrier, but looks like we're going to go to Gavany Township.
What's the Birds of Paradise sound? Because it starts as an 0-1.
Well, it doesn't caw.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it just like a tweet kind of a thing? Oh.
Is that anything?
It is now.
Okay, I just made that up on the spot, so I hope that's a thing.
Tweet.
Yep.
All right, and kind of unfortunately for Todd, there's a never-ending stream of lands on top of his deck.
At the moment.
He really wants to draw a spell and then have the land on top of his deck to play off of Courser.
Need one more die for the bird. There we are. Gavany Township activation. Draw step for the turn is a Ghost Quarter. Eternal Witness on top.
No, that's a good one.
There are worse draws. Here's Ghost Quarter. He gets to gain a life, get a mana. See, get it? It's a landfall strategy.
Oh, I get it.
It's a landfall deck. I like it.
Where's the step links?
Not yet. That'll be coming in build 3.
Yeah, version 3.2.
Yeah, once he gets a little more high tech. All right, that's it for Todd's turn.
And again, a lot of these creatures just look pretty boring by themselves, but they're teaming up to be quite a formidable force. That Lotus Cobra has actually provided a lot of mana and utility for in this game.
Well, you know, Lotus Cobra is a card that, in its heyday, was very powerful. It had to die right away because it generated way too much mana. You did way too many things way too quick with it. We don't see it a ton in Modern anymore. Very little at all, honestly. And Todd Stevens is only playing one copy in his deck, but this game, it has been pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's allowed him to cash in his own lands on several occasions and still be able to deploy a lot of spells each turn. Ghost Quarter himself?
He can.
He did?
He already has. Now, the big thing here is he ever going to be able to, well, Azusa's gone. He could witness it back if he wants to. Can he ever accumulate the full-blown value town lock, which is Ghost Quarter Mania?
The 3 times out of the graveyard each turn?
Yeah, that's what he wants to do. Now, it's a lot of work to do it.
His board's already so wide, and he's pumping it with Gavany Township already, that I don't think he'll have a chance to get there.
Well, here comes Death Shadow. 6/6 can become a 9/9 thanks to the Scalding Tarn, and I think this is the most simple block.
Yeah, this is the easiest block to make. I'm not sure if it's the best block,
but it's definitely the easiest one to make.
But it's certainly the easiest one. If you don't want your brain to explode, you just make that block.
Yeah, Elemental Token here, which does die to Fatal Push. Donegan has found Tassiger. And he's delved away enough cards to say, you know what, Terminates? I want you back.
Yeah, he needs those real bad.
All right, Stevens is going to untap and draw.
And that's a good one on top of his deck.
Windswept Heath?
Value Town.
Yeah, you can play that for free.
Windswept Heath with the Lotus Cobra, you're playing it off the top of the deck. All the pieces.
See if there's a way for Todd to attack for lethal this turn.
Yeah, if he puts Dylan on nothing, the biggest creatures that get blocked are the Elemental and the Knight. So we've got a Courser coming through, the Lotus Cobra coming through, and the Bird coming through, and they all get pumped an additional time.
Well, I think no matter what, Dylan's dead now. So Todd takes a land off his deck, trigger, activate Township. Biggest creatures are the voice token and the knight, like you mentioned.
Yep.
So those gets blocked. Let's say that he pushes Courser. He has to sack a land to do that, so he goes down to min 6.
Yes.
And actually, he has to take 3 to do that because it's Scalding Tarn, so he can't search for basic swamp.
Sure.
And then Cobra plus Bird get through. For an opponent that's at 4.
Yep. I mean, Todd could potentially be scared of a lightning bolt instead, but even then, these decks almost never play a basic mountain.
Yeah, you never.
So he's
see it.
still taking 3, even if your opponent has a bolt.
And even if Donegan were to sack and just get a bolt, assuming that 3 creatures are taken care of, the two smallest creatures are the Bird, which would be 2 power, and the Cobra,
which is 4.
which would be 4 power. So he's in the clear here. It's just if he sees it, and I think he's starting to. Everybody,
Yeah, buddy.
everybody. Todd found it. He found it.
He's got to reveal the top card of his library.
True.
But
Doesn't matter.
You know what that was?
What was that?
Value Town.
That was Value Town, folks.
Took a little trip. Put the kids in the car.
Yep.
Drive on over to Value Town.
Todd Stevens going to win game number 1 here over Dylan Donegan. Green-White Company up a game here over Grixis Death's Shadow as we prepare to take a look at some sideboards here. And we're going to start with Dylan Donegan, who's got 3 Ceremonious Rejection, 2 Collective Brutality, 2 Teamer Battle Rage, 2 Young Pyromancer, 2 Nile Spellbomb, 2 Liliana of the Veil, a Liliana the Last Hope, and a Stubborn Nile. Some pretty good tools here from Mr. Donegan.
There are some pretty good tools here. I wouldn't be surprised to see this Teamer Battle Rage come in. It gives him the ability to close out games through lots of blockers. Generally, Todd's just going to chump block a really big Death Shadow instead of trying to trade with it in combat. So I like the Teamer Battle Rage. The Liliana the Last Hope I actually like a lot. It's going to pick off a lot of these utility creatures.
Birds and Noble Hierarchs.
And Lotus Cobras. So I can see that coming in. The Liliana the Veil is potentially playable to me. It's not a targeted removal spell, so it doesn't always get what you want. And we saw how cluttered Todd Stevens' board got that game, where Liliana of the Veil taking a turn off to cast that 3-mana spell would not have been very impactful. So there's definitely an argument to be made for just leaving that in the board. The Nile Spellbombs I can see coming in. Todd does a lot with his graveyard. It's going to keep the Knight of the Reliquary small and make sure he doesn't play lands out of the graveyard. So I can see that card coming in. And Young Pyromancer, if Todd doesn't have a lot of removal, I see just turn 2 Young Pyromancer and then tons of 1/1s just cluttering up the board.
Very Legacy-esque.
Yes.
Yeah, a little Grixis Delver-esque. Yeah, the Young Pyromancer is the card that I'm the most interested in from Donegan's sideboard. Card that doesn't see a lot of modern play, but as a game plan against what Todd Stevens is doing, Todd doesn't have a lot of great ways to kill it, and then you can just go wide.
Sure, and I think it's pretty smart, pretty innovative. We've seen these Grixis Death Shadow decks have a real tough time against cards like Rest in Peace, where they only have 1 threat in the form of Death Shadow. Then they can't play their big Delvers. Their Snapcaster Mages don't do a whole lot. And so having a card like Young Pyromancer where you just go wide against some of these decks that attack your graveyard, it seems pretty effective. I like it.
We take a look at Todd Stevens. He's got 2 Blessed Alliance, 2 Stony Silence, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 Engineered Explosives. The one-ofs are an additional copy of a Sousa Lost But Seeking, a Whisperwood Elemental, Sigarda, Host of Herons, Linvala, Keeper of Silence, a Elspeth Sunch Champion, a Kataki War's Wage, and a Reclamation Sage.
So there's some interesting ones in here. Todd's definitely going to bring in this Whisperwood Elemental. He likes the value that it generates. We saw that the matchup can get pretty grindy and slow down a lot, and having that card just generate additional creatures each turn seems great. I can see the Elspeth Sun Champion coming in as another big threat that's hard for Dylan to deal with. And I don't know, are we going to see Sigarda, Host of Herons, come in here?
Another big threat that's hard to deal with.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see that one either, but Todd is already shuffling up and getting ready to roll here, so we're going to prepare to do the same in just a moment as we're going to watch Todd and Dylan play game number 2. Let's talk about the Season 2 schedule here on the SCG Tour, where Cincinnati was our Hour of Devastation release weekend, Atlanta was our team open, and then last weekend you and I were in Syracuse where we watched Dan Muster get the job done with Eldrazi-tron. Richmond is where we are now. We'll crown a champion a few hours from now. Then we take a bit of a break as we prepare for Grand Prix Washington, D.C., and then we do SCG Louisville, which will be modern. Dallas will be our Ixalan release weekend. We're very excited for that. And then Charlotte will have some modern action. After that, we'll We'll take a look at Cincinnati for Modern, DC for Legacy, our regional championships, where we'll have more information soon at go.starcitygames.com/regionals. A team open in Baltimore, and then that Season 2 Invitational Weekend at the Berglund Center in Roanoke, Virginia, December 1st through the 3rd, a Standard and Modern with a Standard top 8. And, of course, we do have playmats for you for our Opens and Classics. For Standard, you'll get Bantu the Glorified, the Invocation Edition.
Yeah, she's not to be messed with.
Definitely not very happy at all. We do a little Modern action like we are this week, and that's where you'll get Spell Pierce. And then for our Legacy players out there, for our Legacy Open and Classics, we will have Days. Free exclusive playmats here on the SCG Tour with entry in any Season 2 Open or Classic as we get ready here to watch Todd Stevens versus Dylan Donegan in game number 2. Looks like Stevens is going to be on a mulligan while Donegan is happy with his 7. So we'll take a moment to learn a little bit more about Todd Stevens. A big fan of green, white, and just different types of modern brews is Todd Stevens. The 31-year-old from Denton, Texas, with 10 open top 8s, 2 open wins very recently. His most recent one in Atlanta a couple weeks ago. Inspired by the TV show White Collar to dress nice, he has flew to Australia by himself when he was 16 to play in a tennis tournament. He's a full-time Magic streamer and content producer for Star City Games, and he's a full-time green-white value town.
He really is. He's a modern master.
Absolutely he is.
I'm telling the viewers at home, put in the time. Todd puts in the time.
He does the work. He's not afraid to do the work. That is for sure, as we see a Serum Visions here from Dylan Donegan.
He's constantly tweaking. You'll see him streaming, and he'll try a deck. He'll constantly talk about his thoughts with the deck. He'll change 2 or 3 cards. He'll play another league or another 2 or 3 matches with it. Change a card back, change a different card. Really just putting in the time figuring out the decks.
Stevens did keep his hand scried to the top. A Noble Hierarch came off the top, and that Temple Garden entered the battlefield untapped for Dylan Donegan. Well, he's only got 1 land.
Oof.
For Stevens, he's got a Courser of Kruphix. He'll take a look at the top card. It is a Blessed Alliance. A little less good when the opponent knows about it, but still somewhat, still fine. I would say not great, but still fine. Donegan still looking for that second land. He's going to go to Serum Visions, draw a card.
Yeah,
get a great look.
He had the option to deploy a Tasker there if he wanted to, or dig for the extra land. I actually like digging for the extra land a lot. The Tasker isn't going to represent a significant enough clock to affect this game, especially not staring down a Blessed Alliance on the other side. And, you know, he's going to need some more lands to interact here.
Lands are important. And he's trying to figure out how he wants to scry here, so that card's going to go to the bottom. Curious if he has a discard or not. He may.
I believe he does.
And he will. Snapcaster Mage, well, it's going to be a long way away.
Yeah, pretty rough situation when you cast 3 Serum Visions and you still have to discard.
A Plains here for Stevens off the top, and now get ready. There's a forest, another land. Sousa lost but seeking. There's the Raymond Excavator. It's almost in place.
There's just one more piece.
Noble Hierarch.
One more piece for Megatron.
Yeah, here comes Courser for 4.
Or is it the Antitron?
Might be the Antitron.
Yeah.
All right, Scalding Tarn's the draw. He left that one on top, so he knew it was coming. He's got some real catching up to do. And it might start with killing that Courser of Kruphix, honestly.
Yeah, it's tough for him. He wants to kill that Courser real bad, but he also needs to advance his board and come up with a strategy to win the game. And, you know, killing the Courser to me feels like not losing more than it feels like I'm trying to win.
Okay.
But, I mean, the card's probably just too good in this situation, and he will have to kill it.
It's tough to continue to ignore, I guess is what I would say. You feel like you need to do something about it. Here's a Thought Siege. You see the hand here is another Ramming Up Excavator. There's one in Todd Stevens' hand. There's also one on top of his deck. There's a Path to Exile. There's a Blessed Alliance. And the nice thing here for Dylan is that the hand that Todd has over there is not all that aggressive. His deck isn't that aggressive.
It's not the most threatening, but he still has to worry about a 3 or 4 power creature each turn because of the double Noble Hierarch.
That is a real concern. Path Exile is taken care of. Now Donegan's going to take at least. Boop. Let's put that there. He's going to have to take at least 1, maybe 3. But let's wait a minute.
Yeah, he might wait for the draw step to kill this courser.
Get the info.
Get a little more information.
I do think he has to kill the courser because he just has to stop the card drawing engine. Top card, no, well.
See, now you can wait till the attack step.
Yeah.
If Todd attacks with the courser.
There's Ramunap, Excavator. Let's make it 2.
A go wide strategy.
Yeah. Potent. Potent, potable.
Yeah, Todd just needs 1 fetch land to kind of go crazy.
Yeah, that's true. Take like no damage.
Yeah. Take no damage and just thin out his deck. Just explode with mana. A Horizon Canopy would be great. He'd be able to draw so many cards.
Ghost Quarters game over.
Ghost Quarters just game over. Dylan just ends up with no lands instantly.
Ooh, Todd is not going to attack, I think.
Yeah, I think the play there, it might have been to just attack with the Souza.
Dylan's going to play a Fatal Push. First he's going to search up a Blood Crypt off of a Scalding Tarn, take 3, fall down to 8, which means that the Fatal Push has Revolt.
But yeah, Todd's saying, I don't want your Death Shadow to be any bigger than it needs to be.
Now we're going to go over Dylan, who's had some mana problems early on in this game. He's starting to work himself out of them. I think he may have just picked up another land, but his life total is pretty low. But then again, that's exactly where he wants his life total to be. He knows that Stevens is going to draw a copy of Courser of Crufix. So now he's got to try to figure out what to do.
Yeah, just dealt with 1. Obviously, there's another one coming right off the top of the deck.
The other thing that he knows is that there's a Blessed Alliance in his opponent's hand.
Yep.
So he's got perfect information. Top card, card in hand, what's on the battlefield, what's in the graveyard. So it's hair pooling time.
Yeah, into the think tank.
Yep.
Well, hopefully he doesn't drown down there. Come back out with the play.
Gotta have a plan, because he's in some trouble, and his top 8 dreams are on the line right now. Another loss, and he will not be in the elimination rounds, which means he will not go back-to-back as Richmond Open champion. He won the last time that we were here.
I mean, Tasker's a pretty good brick wall to stop the opponent from attacking.
And these creatures aren't that aggressive, but as you did mention with Noble Hierarch, they can attack for 3 if you're a Souza or 4 if you're the Excavator. And those hits do matter.
Or 5 if they just attack as a team.
Yeah, also true. It looks like Dylan has been prompted to make a play because it is time to make a play.
Yeah, it's multiple Delve creatures you can deploy.
Scalding Tarn's the land.
Don't pick up a warning, Dylan.
All right, looks like he's going to sacrifice Scalding Tarn. Curious how much he's going to take. Remember, this cannot search for a swamp. It can search for Watergrave, though.
He might just get basic island. All right, Watergrave tapped. That also makes sense.
How about untapped?
Untapped. Ooh.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
He's not sure.
Maybe not.
All right, island.
All right, basic
okay.
island.
That's the one I expected the most. And I think Todd's. I think he's probably not happy that he passed on attacking last turn.
Yeah. Let's see what this is. Tassiger. Let's delve some away. Follow up Angler. Yep. Let's delve some more away. All right. Leave Fatal Push there for Snapcaster Mage. Corsair Crufix going to come off the top. Next card. Oh, God.
Oh, mama. And this is why Dylan didn't want to search for the islands.
Mm-hmm. Elspeth Sun's Champion is the next card.
So he's made 1 land drop so far.
Yes, he has. 2 more to go.
And Elspeth's okay in this situation.
I've seen worse. I've seen worse.
Every card is such a platinum hit.
Yep.
Oh, man. Todd, this is how you do it?
When the deck draws like this, it's certainly compelling.
I didn't realize.
Yeah. Gonna search for basic swamp. Play a land, number 2.
Second land drop.
Yep.
I wonder what's going to happen.
Bzz. Kill that. That's gone for good.
Third land drop, huh? That's lucky.
What do you think's going to happen?
3 lands in a turn.
It's a lot of lands in a turn.
You don't think he's going to do it himself?
That's dead.
All right, didn't Ghost Quarter himself.
Well, Dylan,
And
I hope you have stubborn denial.
You tried valiantly, but it's okay to walk away from this one.
Yep, that is it. Todd Stevens going to win this matchup over Dylan Donegan. 2-0. Green-white collected company with all of them there Ghost Quarters. Too much, to handle for Dylan Donegan and his Grixis Death Shadow deck. The combination of Courser of Crewfix, ramming up Excavator, a Souza, and Ghost Quarter machine gunning down all of Dylan's lands. He's only got 2 basics in the deck. Stevens made it look easy.